All right, what's up guys? It's Q&A time. I'm about to answer a whole bunch of questions that you guys asked me. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome. What's up everybody? Thank you for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be doing a little Q&A, something a little bit different. I hopped on Instagram and I made a story post and I asked you guys to send me your questions and ask me anything you wanted to ask me for this video right here. And I got a lot of really awesome responses, a lot of interesting questions. So in this one, I'm going to do my best to answer all of them. That's right, just a little bit different, not an unboxing, not a fishing video, but most of these questions are fishing related. And I'm excited to get into this one and share some of this information with you guys. Some of this stuff I have answered in the past, but we're gonna go ahead and cover it all in this video right here. But really quick, before we get too deep into the video, you know the deal. If this is your first time watching, please consider subscribing to the channel. We just passed 14,400 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for helping me grow the channel. But if you have fun in today's video and you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure you turn those notification bells on so you catch all the future content as soon as it goes live. Help us grow this beast, color in the bar, and obtain that elusive YouTube silver play button. Okay, before we get too deep into the main part of today's video, I have a couple things that I want to talk about right here, a couple things I want to update you guys on. First and foremost, let me just say thank you for watching the video. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a returning subscriber and this isn't your first video, thank you so much for coming back. If this happens to be the first time you've ever watched, thank you for doing so. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch the video. The channel has been doing really well lately. We are still small potatoes. This is still a small YouTube channel compared to a lot of the other bigger fishing channels out there, but I don't care. I don't let that discourage me. I don't worry about what other people are doing. I only worry about what I'm doing, and I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about some of the stuff that's been amazing me here lately. There was a time when I struggled to get several hundred views on a video, let alone 1,000 views. And I remember I would always open up my YouTube analytics and I would look at the videos that would show up on my phone, and I would say, I can't wait until I can open up this YouTube app and see a phone screen full of videos with 1,000 views. Well, I'm happy to say, guys, that here recently we've been not only cracking 1,000 views per video, but we've been cracking more like 2, 5, sometimes 10,000 views on a single video, and it's all thanks to you guys. So I just wanted to take this time here really quick at the beginning of this one to extend my gratitude, say thank you guys so much for riding with me. I appreciate each and every one of you who watches my videos, everybody who subscribes, and notification squad, you guys that are on it as soon as I post a video. You guys are awesome, and I can't thank you enough for riding with me, man. I appreciate you. And so yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and say that really quick here at the beginning. We've been doing really well lately. Let's keep this momentum rolling. Let's keep growing the channel. 15K on the way. We're almost halfway through another 1,000, on our way to that 15,000. But like I said earlier, that ultimate goal, 100K, man. Let's color in the bar. Next up, speaking of subscribing, make sure you stay tuned because you guys already know. You already know what's in here. I have this package and I have 2 more packages on the way. All 3 of them from the 6. That's right, guys. The Vega Frog just dropped live and direct in full effect on 6centsfishing.com. At the time of me filming this video, there are still some available, but they are selling fast and they will sell out. So by the time you see this, they're all gone. My apologies. I've been making announcements over on my Instagram, which is the best way to stay up to date with me in real time. If you guys missed out on the frogs or you haven't heard me talk about the frogs until now, and then you get there and they're all sold out, follow me on Instagram at @TheJustinRoyal, and that is how you stay up to date with all the latest bait drops, all the updates coming at you in real time. I post as much as I can daily, constantly, practically, over there on IG. I would love to have you guys following along. I made the announcement Monday when the frogs went live and everybody just swarmed them. First set of colors sold out really fast. The second set of colors went up and they sold out, and now the third set is up right now, and I think the ones that are up right now are the best, man. They got some straight heaters on the website right now. At the time of me filming this, I don't know, they could all be gone by the time this goes up, but either way, man, like I said, follow me on IG if you want all the real-time, up-to-date, fast action bait drop reports coming at you live and direct in full effect over there on IG. If by any chance there are still some frogs left and you want to go scoop some, don't forget to use my code JR10 at checkout on 6centsfishing.com. Secure the amphibian heaters, save money at the same time. JR10 for the win, and make sure you get me those screenshots over there on IG for a shout out. Stay tuned for the unboxing vid. You know I'm gonna crack into these frogs, and I have practically one of every color coming on the way. I'm going to show them to you up close and personal here on the channel, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss it. One last thing really quick here before we get into the Q&A portion of the video. As some of you guys who have been watching the channel might already know, a while back I ordered some swim baits from Tackle Warehouse. The package got lost in the mail. It took forever for anything to happen. It ended up getting stuck somewhere in California, never showed up. Got with Tackle Warehouse customer service. Shout out to Tackle Warehouse. They took care of me. They got with UPS, got a claim issued, sent me out a replacement package. We opened that here on camera. We got all the swim baits rigged up. We went out there and we've been doing a lot of swim bait fishing. Well, the other day I walked into the living room and there was a box sitting on the table and I was like, what is this? And I already opened it because there was no need in doing a dual unboxing, but nevertheless, lo and behold, you guys already know it was the original package of all the original swim baits that I ordered. So now we got duplicates, guys. We got replacements, we got backups, we got spares. Jackal Gantarelle Jr., Matt Lures Hammertail Shad, Matt Lures Bluegill, and the little Matt Lures Boottail Gizzard Shad as well. So stoked on that, stoked to be able to double up. Might think of something creative to do with those baits. Maybe use them as spares, maybe do a giveaway, I don't know. Stay tuned for future videos to find out. Make sure you follow me on IG as well. But I think that's all I got for you. And now we can go ahead and get into the main part of this video, the Q&A. Guys, get comfortable, sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab your cold Zevia, and let's get off into this Q&A. I think this might be a long video. I'm just gonna read these questions and answer them to the best of my ability. And you guys already know I like to talk. Sometimes I'll be rattling off stuff and we get off into a 30-minute plus video. That may very well happen here. I don't know. We're about to find out. Like I said, I hopped on Instagram, threw up a little post, asked you guys to ask me some questions. A lot of people chimed in. I have them all right here on my phone. So we're just gonna go through one by one. I'm gonna try to answer them to the best of my ability. I'm gonna bounce around a little bit, try to go in an entertaining order. I got a couple typed up here in my notes, and then the rest are all from IG screenshots. But let's get off into this Q&A, answer some questions straight from you guys, my awesome audience out there in YouTube land. So without further ado, hold on to your butts. Let's get off into this Q&A. The first question comes from my friend Mike Goes Fishing over on Instagram. He asked, do you know where the phrase "hold on to your butts" comes from? Classic 90s movie. And you guys know the deal. You guys know I love quoting old school 80s and 90s movies in my videos, and you know without a doubt that I know that "hold on to your butts" came from the role that made Samuel L. Jackson bust out onto the scene in Jurassic Park. You're not gonna stump me with one that easy, Mike. Shout outs to my friend Mike Goes Fishing. That was an awesome question. Thank you for kicking off the Q&A with a 90s movie quote. Of course, Sam Jackson in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts. Let's get into the rest of this Q&A. The next question I'm gonna answer, one place you've always wanted to fish. I'm gonna go ahead and rattle off 3 lakes right here. 3 lakes that I've always had in mind that I wanna fish. Sam Rayburn, massive lake here in Texas. Clear Lake, California, and Lake Okeechobee out in Florida. I think those 3 lakes right there, when I think about what lakes I would like to go fish if I could just instantly transport to any body of water and fish it, I think those 3 right there are high up on the list. So I wanted to give you guys a few different answers to that question, kind of bounce around and hit them all. Over on the East Coast, down here in the South, and out there on the West. Never fished any of those places, but I would absolutely love to. Next question comes from Nate Fitch15 over there on Instagram. He asked me how I got into 6th Sense, how I got into using 6th Sense fishing products. A lot of you guys over here that have been watching the channel for a long time already know this story, but I'm gonna go ahead and rattle it off again right here, right now. I wanna say close to, shoot, 1.5 years, going on a while ago now, I was shopping around in the tackle aisle, my local tackle shop, and I was throwing a lot of swim jigs, throwing a lot of cheaper swim jigs, throwing a lot of swim jigs that had trouble keeping the trailers on there, and I saw this swim jig sitting there, had a little screw at the bottom of the hook, the screw lock system from this company called 6th Sense Fishing, and I decided to scoop me up a couple of them. Bought those swim jigs, the Divine swim jig from 6th Sense Fishing. It was actually this exact one right here that I just pulled down off the tackle wall, 3/8 ounce Pro Blue Divine swim jig. Brought this home, screwed my paddle tail swim bait trailer onto that screw lock system, started throwing the swim jig and started smacking fish on it. Not only did I start smacking fish, I started saving money. It was helping my trailers last longer. They were staying on the swim jig, and I quickly noticed how nice of a product 6th Sense Fishing made. From there, I decided to venture out and grabbed some of their hard baits. I immediately started dominating with these things, made me fall in love with crankbait fishing, had an absolute blast, caught a ton of fish, and from there, the rest is history. Shout outs to my Team 6 fam. Thank you guys so much for all that you do for us. And that is how I got into 6th Sense Fishing, scooped up a Divine swim jig, and the rest is history. Next up, I'm gonna combine 2 questions into one. One of them is from Brandon Nowak, and the other one is from Chase Mercier. Brandon and Chase both ask, what inspired you to make fishing videos, and why did you decide to take up fishing instead of riding? And those 2 questions kind of go hand in hand, so I'm gonna break it down for you guys right now. As some of you may know, if you go back far enough on my channel, you'll see that I used to make moto vlogs, motorcycle vlogs, riding a motorcycle with a camera on my helmet, riding around, talking to the camera, and doing crazy stuff on motorcycles out there in the streets. I also had a couple crashes on my motorcycles. The first big crash I had, I broke 4 ribs, separated my shoulder pretty bad, was busted up for about 6 to 8 weeks, got back on the bike, kept riding as soon as I was healed up, and kept making motorcycle videos. But then I had another crash where I broke my left arm. You guys can see this big scar right here. Had to have orthopedic surgery, stainless steel plates and screws to put my arm back together. That was not fun. That was a little bit longer of a recovery. We're going on like 3 months for that recovery. It was pretty hard on me and my family. It absolutely sucked. And even after that, I healed up, got back on the bikes, and continued to make motorcycle videos. But in doing so, I realized one thing. I was not having as much fun as I used to doing that. It was tough, man. I was still having issues with my arm, still going through rehab, still having a lot of pain. It wasn't as strong as it used to be. And I noticed that when I was riding a motorcycle, I was constantly thinking about crashing again, worried about crashing, and the fun was being sucked out of it. So during my rehabilitation, I was looking for something that I could do, something to get back out there into the outdoors and keep my mind and myself occupied. I've been fishing my whole life, and I've been bass fishing since I was a young teenager. I had some bass setups in the corner of the garage. I hadn't been fishing in a long time, but I decided to pull out the rod and reels and head down to the lake. I live here on a beautiful lake. I decided to head down to the water, see if I could pull some bass out of there, and I did. And in the process of doing so, I started noticing that hook sets were helping to rehab my arm. I was going through physical therapy at the time, doing a lot of exercises, a lot of mobility training, strength training, trying to get the movement and the strength back in my arm. And I was down there fishing, and the first hook sets hurt, but every day I would continue fishing. I was going down there, catching a lot of fish, started posting them to my Instagram story, and my hook sets just kept getting stronger and stronger, and my arm kept feeling a little bit better with each hook set. Now, going way back like faux flats on a Cadillac, I've always been that kid that was just making videos. Ever since I was really young and it was camcorders with VHS tapes, I've been recording videos and making videos about stuff. So when I noticed that I was moving out of the riding phase and into the fishing phase, it was just the natural evolution. I've always made videos about whatever it was that I was doing, and I decided, hey, if I can film motorcycle videos, I can film fishing videos as well. I'd seen some other YouTubers doing it. I knew some people back home from the Dallas area that had made the transition from riding motorcycles to making fishing videos themselves. So I decided to give it a shot. And as soon as I did, I started getting some really awesome feedback from the people who used to watch my motorcycle videos, and they were telling me things like, hey man, I came here for the motorcycle videos, and normally I wouldn't even watch a fishing video, but something about the way you do it is keeping me zoned in and honed in, and I'm really enjoying the fishing content, man. Keep it up. I started getting encouragement from people that used to watch my motorcycle videos, and before long, I fell in love with the entire process of making fishing videos, started having a blast doing it, kept getting better and better, and the rest is sort of history, guys. I sold all my motorcycles, stopped riding completely, started focusing on fishing again every day, eventually bought my bass boat Beetlejuice, and it's just been on, full bore on. I fell back in love with fishing. Fishing is something I've done my entire life. Bass fishing is something that I got into, I learned about from my Uncle Gary, and once I started getting back into it down here on this lake, started fishing clear water, I found a whole new love for the game, and it's just been on since. It's just been full blown on. I put all my energy, all of my focus, all of my efforts into it, and I've been having a blast, and apparently a lot of you guys have as well, because I've never seen the kind of growth or viewership on this channel ever the whole time I was doing motorcycle videos. But now that we're doing fishing videos, we're finally starting to grow. It's been awesome to see, and I have no plans on stopping. So that is the answer to both of those questions. That was a long one. Let's move on. Dirty Dan 210 on Instagram asks, have you ever considered traveling to different lakes? Yes, I have, and I have done so in the past in videos. You can see me fish other bodies of water right here on the channel. It is something I will continue to do in the future. Like I mentioned though, I live here on a beautiful lake. The boat ramp is right down the street right there. It's really easy for me to get out on the water here. I love my lake. I love fishing this lake. A lot of the baits and the techniques that I use are honed in right here from my body of water, and I have a blast doing it. It's a huge lake. I can always go out there and find new spots to fish, new areas to run to, and there's a lot of content to be made right here at home. So that is why you see me fishing out there on the same lake most of the time, but I do venture off and hit other bodies of water at times. Go back through the videos here on the channel, watch me do that. You can even see me do some pond fishing. I have plans to hit other bodies of water in the future. I have some lakes in mind back home up in North Texas, and you guys will just have to stay tuned for that. So the answer is yes. Andrew Gardner 412 asks, my favorite flavor of Zevia soda. Dr. Zevia, that's easy. This is the Dr. Pepper imitation. guys that don't know, Zevia is a calorie-free soda that I started drinking to help me kick the sugary drinks. Lost a lot of weight drinking that soda, and I always rock the red can, the Dr. Zevia. I also really love the pink can, the strawberry. Really good. I got some of those in the fridge right now. Next question is, how did I get into fishing? Like I mentioned earlier, I've been fishing my whole life. Practically ever since I was old enough to hold a pole, I've been fishing. I'll try to throw up a picture of me as a kid right here on the screen. I have a bunch of pictures of me holding fish, holding fishing poles. When I was growing up, we had a pond out behind our house, and my friend Todd, his mom used to babysit us during the day while my parents were at work, and me and Todd would rig up and we would go fishing for bluegill, perch, and all kinds of panfish out in the creeks and the ponds in North Texas, and I absolutely loved doing it. We did it every single day, as long as we could get outside and as long as we could find some bait, sometimes a grasshopper or two, some night crawlers, maybe steal a can of mom's corn, go out there and hook us up with some bluegill, little perch jerking. Love fishing. I've been doing it my whole life. That's how I got into fishing, man. I grew up in the country and fishing is just what we did. Next question, what's a good topwater setup? Good topwater setup, I'm gonna go with two options right here. A medium power, moderate action rod, shorter in length for like walking style baits, for the dogma, the catwalk, your spooks, and your like popper style baits. Anything you gotta give a lot of action to the bait on. I love using a shorter length, more moderate action rod, like the Lux Series 6'9", medium moderate. That's the rod that I use for throwing my topwater walking style baits and my popping style baits. Works out great for me. But if you want to throw something heavier, like a frog or a whopper plopper, I would suggest a 7-foot to 7.5-foot heavy power fast action rod. Take your pick, man. The 6 has a bunch of options in that range. You guys are just gonna have to figure out what you can afford, how much money you can afford to spend, and that will help dictate whether you get up into that sensory unicorn range or if the Milliken or Lux Series is more suited for you. Those are the two I would suggest. A shorter, lighter, more moderate action rod, or a 7 to 7.5-foot heavy action rod, depending on which of those two baits you're gonna be throwing. Next question, what is your favorite 6th Sense soft plastic? That's a tough one. That's a tough one, man, but I think I gotta go with the Prawn. The Prawn 4.2 is just a straight heater, man. You can do so many different things with it. You can use it as a jig trailer. You can flip it, you can pitch it, you can drag it around on the bottom, you can TR that bad boy. It's just an awesome bait. I love the Prawn 4.2 from the 6. I think that's probably my favorite soft plastic for sure. The Prawn 4.2, Stroker Craw coming in at a close second though. They're all heaters, man. They're all heaters, you know the deal. Heaters only. All right, this next question here is a fun one. This comes from my friend Fatboy Fishing. Fatboy Fishing, shout outs to my man over there on IG. He asks, shave the beard and fish for the rest of the year, or don't shave it and I can't fish until January 1st. Thank you, Fatboy, for that very creative and entertaining question, and I can answer that really easy right now. If I could keep the beard and not fish until January 1st, or shave it off and go fishing until tomorrow, the answer to that question is easy. We're fishing. We're shaving this bad boy off and we're going fishing. And that's just the way it is, man. If the beard had to go so that I could keep fishing, this is my work, this is my passion, this is my job, this is what I do. We're shaving that bad boy off and we're hitting the lake. But luckily that's not the case, so the beard stays. At least until we hit 100,000. I might shave it off if you guys can get me to 100K. No promises. Next question comes from my friend Real Life Fishing. He asks, are you able to do YouTube full time? And if not, when do you think you'll be able to? And I'm happy to say that this is my full-time job. YouTube combined with other streams of revenue is my full-time job. This is what I do. I am extremely blessed and super fortunate to be able to fish, film, and upload videos for you guys. Yes, this is my full-time gig, making videos, creating content, and running all of the business aspects of the fishing content creator world is what I do. So I'm very blessed, extremely fortunate to be able to do this full-time, all day, every day. This is what I do. Probably 80 hours a week, easy. I'm doing something that has to do with fishing or fishing content or my social media or my YouTube or editing or something that has to do with this whole fishing gig thing right here. Speaking of the fishing business, I have some things that are going to amplify this whole thing and take us to the next level, into the upper echelons. Really big news coming your way really soon. Something that you guys have been asking me about repeatedly, nonstop, all the time. I'm gonna be able to answer it for you really soon, and I have some super exciting, incredible things to show you. I can't wait to share more. It's coming really soon. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm gonna be dropping some big news on you guys in the near future, so stay ready so you don't gotta get ready. Reed Pennington asks, what is your favorite trick worm? Zoom, Magnum trick worm, and watermelon candy is my favorite trick worm. There you go. Quick and easy on that one. Cable Golden on Instagram asks if I've ever fished in a fishing tournament, and if I did, what place did I get? The answer to that is no. I'm not a very competitive person, and I've personally never once fished in a fishing tournament. It's just something that I haven't done, something that I've been thinking about doing, something that I've had people ask me if I wanted to do in the past, but I've never made the move and actually gone out there and done it. Also having some live well issues on Beetlejuice right now, so I couldn't keep 5 fish on the boat even if I did fish a tournament. So that's something we might get into in the future, but like I said, I'm not too competitive. I'm out there on the water trying to have fun and just catch fish and create awesome content for you guys. And fishing a tournament isn't something that I've really felt entirely compelled to do up to this point, but never say never. I always keep my possibilities open, and I look forward to perhaps getting into some tournament fishing in the future. Maybe if Ben Milliken brings that Slaunch Master 5000 or whatever fishing tournament here to Texas on Sam Rayburn, I'll go hit that up and make that my first tournament. But that's the answer to that. No, never fished a fishing tournament before. Also, I don't know that I'm good enough of a fisherman to be betting money away on myself when it comes to fishing. So yeah, that's another thing. I don't like losing money, and I don't like tinkling money away in the wind, if you know what I'm saying. So I think that might be what I'm doing. If I get into a fishing tournament, fishing against a bunch of hammers out here, I don't want to be losing my money unnecessarily. But like I said, I am open to the idea. Never say never. Stay tuned. You never know what might happen in the future. Ben, if you're watching, bring that Slaunch Master 5000 down here to Texas. We'll see if we can get it done. Speaking of Ben Milliken, the next question is, do you plan on doing some fishing outside of Texas? And the answer is yes. Hopefully I can hook up with the homie Ben and maybe hook up with some other content creators and fish some different states with some different bodies of water in the near future. As you guys know, things are crazy out there right now. It's difficult to travel, things are crazy in the world, but hopefully when everything starts getting back to a little bit more normal, we'll be able to make that happen. Go visit some people, see some new folks, and fish some new states with some new water with some new people. That will be fun. I'm totally down to do that. Next question comes from Flippin' Jack 101 on Instagram. He asks, how did you get your passion for fishing? I'm gonna go ahead and just say my Uncle Gary. Rest in peace to my Unc. He's the one that got me into bass fishing, took me out to a bass pond, showed me how to throw the spinnerbait for the first time. And ever since the first hook set, I just started falling in love with bass fishing, and it's been on since then, man. I remember we used to load up the rods in the car, go to school, and as soon as school was out, we'd go fish. And yeah, that was just the deal, man. Fishing's been a big part of my life. Did it the whole time I was growing up. Never really stopped. Would take some breaks, got focused on riding motorcycles for a while, but fishing has always been a part of my life, and I have a feeling that it always will be going forward as I've chosen to make it my career. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm having a blast doing it, and yeah, fishing has always been a passion of mine, practically my whole life. Shout outs to my Uncle Gary for taking me bass fishing for the first time. Much love, Unc. Next question comes from I Like to Reef over on Instagram, and he asks me whether I prefer a Kitech or a Divine Swimbait for my swim jig trailers. I've answered this question before in the past here on the channel, but I'll answer it again right now. And the answer is, it depends on the situation. Sometimes I want a little bit softer plastic with a little bit wider kick, and that is when I will go with the Kitech. But if I want a little bit more flash, a little bit more action, a faster kick, and some more durability in my plastic, that is when I will go with the Divine Swimbait. So really it just matters on the conditions, what mood I'm in, what I think the fish want. I'll go back and forth in between the two, but that's the answer to that one right there. I always have both of those on deck. They're both amazing paddle tail swim baits. Next question comes from Lackermeyer over on Instagram. He says, how do you keep up with slow days on the water? Not that I ever see any from you. So let me just tell you right up front that I, just like anyone else, have plenty of slow days out there on the water. And the way I keep up with them is I just keep fishing. I'll fish for hours and hours sometimes 5 to 6 hours without a bite. Some days I'll go out there and only catch one little dink. Some days I'll go out there and get skunked. It's rare that I get skunked because usually I am able to force a bite on at least something. Like I said, I have a lot of water, big lake to fish, and normally I can get the skunk out of the boat, but it doesn't always go well for me. It isn't always lightning, and sometimes I get out there and struggle. But one of the things about that is if I go out there and I don't catch anything, I just don't make a video with it. I don't use that footage. You guys don't want to see me standing around on the boat for 6 hours doing nothing. So that is why it always looks like I'm catching fish. But trust me, having tough days is just part of fishing, and I grind through them just like everybody else. I just keep going. Okay, another question from Lackermeyer. He asks, how did 6th Sense see you and want to help the channel grow? Like I mentioned earlier, I started using their products, started making videos with their products, started really promoting their products in my videos, started making a lot of content using their baits, started catching some big fish with their baits, and then eventually I opened a dialogue with 6th Sense, and me and the company started developing a personal relationship, and eventually things just worked out to where they decided that it would be a good idea to put some energy behind me. I'm extremely fortunate and blessed to have them riding with me, but it would not have happened if I hadn't worked so hard for them prior. I did a lot of work fishing with their stuff, making videos with their stuff, promoting their baits, and proving how well their baits work to the world before they ever gave me a shot. So don't think that I was just handed this. I did a lot of work. You can go back and see it right here on the channel if you're interested in seeing the videos that I made before I ever started riding with the 6. Team 6 all day, man. I'm super blessed, super grateful for those guys. Can't thank them enough for supporting us and what we do. And I also thank you to all of you for watching this video. I know this is getting long, but like I said, it's gonna be a long one. Big old fat Q&A video, heaters only. Shout outs to the 6. Let's get into the next question. Next question comes from my friend Nate Adams. He says, do you ever use tube baits? And I gotta be straight up. No, I've never. I think I remember throwing the flying lure back in the day. I ordered that off of TV, and that was like a tube bait that was supposed to do some magic kind of thing, but never have I thrown just a traditional tube bait. I don't think. It's just something that I never got into. I know it's a really awesome technique that produces a lot of fish, something that I'll probably need to educate myself on, but personally just never really done tube fishing. I don't know, it just seems like a different style of bottom fishing, finesse technique, and you know me, if I can avoid finesse fishing, I will. I'm all about that power fishing, beating the banks, throwing the moving baits. So yeah, throwing a tube is just not something that I ever got into. Amonte17 on Instagram asks, how do I afford all that tackle? And the answer is simple: hard work. It didn't all come overnight in a giant box. I acquired it slowly by working my tail off, and that's what it is. My friend Fat Tony asks, do you rip dank nooners with the boat? And what he means by that is, do I pop wheelies in Beetlejuice? My friend Tony's a motorcycle rider, one of my homies from the Stay Broke crew back in the day. He rips awesome wheelies on his supermoto, and he wants to know if I can do any in the boat. And the answer to that is yes, dude. Just trim all the way up and hammer it from a dead stop, and that bow will rise and she'll get up. I don't know if it'll hit quite 12 o'clock, but we can get up there to like 11. And yeah, dude, that's a really interesting, creative, and entertaining motorcycle question. Do I rip dank nooners in Beetlejuice? Yeah, you know it. He also asked me my fondest fishing memory, past and present. I already mentioned one of them, the first time my Uncle Gary took me bass fishing. Another one of my past memories, I can remember fishing with a little beetle spin out in the creek behind my house when it had just rained and we had a lot of water flowing through the creek beside the house. I was throwing that beetle spin around, and I actually accidentally caught a little largemouth bass out of the creek out there by the house. So those are two old school fond memories. And recently, I'm gonna have to go with that 9 pounds, 8 ounces at the waterfall. My personal best 9.5 pound largemouth bass out there on the Divine swim jig. That was a super fond memory, and one that I never get tired of watching. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's here on the channel. It's called 9.5 pounds for 9.5K or something like that. Awesome PB video. Go scope that heater out. Nathan Singer asked me, do I trim the legs on my frogs when I'm frog fishing? Answer to that, yes and no. Depends on the type of situation. Depends on if they're short striking it or not. Depends on if I want to get a better walking action. Sometimes you can trim one leg shorter than the other one, help it walk a little bit more. But most of the time I'll go out there and try throwing it as it comes out of the package. But I do have some trimmed frogs, and I have some untrimmed frogs, and I have some unevenly trimmed frogs. So much like the Swimbait trailer question earlier, it just depends on the situation, the scenario, and that is how I decide whether or not I trim the legs on my frog. Dirty Dan 210 comes back with another one and asks me if I will ever fish with a subscriber. The answer to that is yes. Hopefully one day we'll be able to make that happen. Maybe do a little subscriber meetup for all the people locally watching here. I think that would be cool. But right now, catch me on the boat solo. Next question comes from 21 Sammy over there on Instagram. Sammy asks, do you plan on upgrading Beetlejuice anytime soon? Now, I'm not quite sure if he was asking me if I plan on adding upgrades to Beetlejuice or if I plan on trading Beetlejuice in for a different boat. So I'll just answer them both. Yes, I have plans to upgrade the equipment on Beetlejuice, like adding a bow graph and maybe some other fun stuff, but no plans currently to trade Beetlejuice in and get a different boat. I absolutely love the Skeeter, working out really well for me, and I can't afford no $70,000 brand new FXR or ZXR. So we're gonna be riding with Beetlejuice for the foreseeable future, but we will be adding some new gadgets, gizmos, and equipment to Beetlejuice. So stay tuned for that. Next question is from the homie EB Leon over there on Instagram. He says, why don't you throw a topwater more often? Very funny. That's a little throwback to a comment that I made in a recent video where somebody told me that I should try throwing a walking bait. Really funny, dude. You guys know I love throwing my topwater baits. Throw them all the time here on the channel. Funny question, bro. Another funny one comes from my friend Albert Rock, who asks, when will I let the bass drive Beetlejuice? As you guys know, sometimes those bass be flopping around on the floor, getting over there on the hot foot, trying to steal the boat. and he's just being funny. Another creative and humorous question. Next question comes from SRT Matt. This is a good one. He says, if I didn't have the boat, do I think my love for fishing would be the same? And the answer to that is yes, dude, absolutely. I have a bunch of bank fishing content from right here on the channel, me making fishing videos, hiking along the banks, hoofing it with my 4 rods, my backpack full of camera gear, my tackle bag, my GoPro strapped up, and everything else right there from the banks before I ever even had a boat. And I loved it. I did it every single day, made fishing videos all the time like that. Go back here on the channel, check out some of that content. I just worked my butt off and kept making plans, saving money, and making moves till I could finally get my own bass boat, and we made it happen. But the answer to that is absolutely yes. I loved fishing, loved bass fishing long before I ever had a bass boat. Did it from the bank for a long time, hoofing it, working, grinding, and that's how you get things done, man. Hard work. This one comes from Ty Greason, also over there on Instagram. He asks, what is the thing that I am most thankful for? This one might come as a surprise to you. It's not the tackle, it's not the fishing gear, it's not the boat, it's not the lake, it's not the bass, it's not the sponsorships, it's not the money, none of that. The thing that I'm most thankful for, it's my beautiful wife, Jessica. Without her, none of this happens. Shout outs to you if you're watching. Without Jessica, nothing that you see happens. She's everything. She's the most important thing. She's the reason I do all of this, trying to create a better life for myself and for her. And without my awesome wife, none of this would go down. So that's definitely the thing that I'm the most thankful for. Shout outs to wifey, much love. Gregor Life on Instagram asks, when are you gonna drop some merch? We need some merch with your catchphrases on it. And the answer to that is, stay tuned, because it's coming. I have some incredible things in the works, and I cannot wait to show you guys these designs. I'm telling you, without a doubt, it's gonna be the baddest fishing apparel in the game. Nobody's gonna be able to touch this stuff. That's why it's taking long, because I'm taking my time and I'm doing it the absolute best. I'm going above and beyond through the stratosphere, through the ionosphere, brother. It's gonna be the sickest fishing merch in the game, and I can't wait to show it to you guys straight up. Heaters only. Stay tuned. You're gonna love it. I have no doubt in my mind you're gonna love it. It's gonna be so sick. It's gonna be awesome. Next question comes from RL Harris 85. He asks, is there a brand of fluorocarbon on the market that is actually memory resistant? A couple things about memory and fluorocarbon. Let me just say that if you spool it up correctly, if you unroll the line, maybe use a device like this and unroll the line the same way that it was rolled on, you generally won't have any issues with line memory. It's not something that I have to deal with much. I always make sure I'm unrolling my supply spool as I'm spooling up my reel, and that takes care of any memory issues. But one thing you can do if you do have a lot of line memory and you're getting a lot of coiling in your line is you can remove the spool from your reel, just drop it in a cup of hot water, warm water, for about a couple minutes, and it will miraculously, magically remove the memory from that line. That's a nice little trick. If you have too much line memory going on, just remove your spool from the reel, drop it in some warm water for a few, you'll be good to go. It will remove that line memory. And that's the pro tip of the video right there. I learned that from other fishermen. Didn't come up with that myself, but it does work if you're having issues with line memory. I generally, like I said, do not, because I take the time to spool up my reels correctly, unroll the same way it rolled on, you'll be good to go. These next couple questions are questions that I get asked a lot. These are frequently asked questions, and I'm gonna try to get through them as quickly as possible because I know this video is getting long. Something that people DM me and ask me all the time, and it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. I try not to be too mean about it, but something that kind of annoys me when people ask, they send me a DM and they say, will you follow me? And the short answer is, without being too harsh and without hurting anyone's feelings, sorry if it does, but no. That's not the way you get followers on social media, guys. You don't send out DMs asking people to follow you. If you want people to follow you, the best thing that you can possibly do is post good content that folks want to see, and that is how you will generate a following. Not by sending DMs, not by asking for favors, but through hard work, posting good content. That's the way I got it done, and that's the way you should get it done too. And that's just my opinion, man. I'm not trying to be mean, not trying to be hurtful in any kind of way, but when people DM me and ask me to follow them, generally I just don't even have the heart to say anything, and I have to just let it ride. Unless you're posting something awesome that I want to see every day on my social media, chances are I'm not gonna follow, and that's just the way it is. Oh yeah. No disrespect, much love, and if you choose to ride with me anyway, I appreciate you. Thanks a lot. It is what it is. I would assume that you're following me or messaging me because you like what I post, and that is why you should expect people to follow you, because they like what you post. That's the way it works, right? All right, moving on. Hopefully I didn't upset anyone too bad with that one. Next question that I get asked all the time, best beginner bait caster combo in the $200 range. And I have to be honest, most of my combos exceed that by just a little bit, by maybe like $50 or more. So I have to just go with the recommendation that I saw my friends over at Tactical Bassin provide, and that is the Shimano SLX combo. SLX rod, SLX standard baitcaster reel. In the $200 price range, I think that's gonna be a tough combo to beat. It's supposed to do really well. I personally don't own one, but I've heard good things. So that's the answer that you get from me on that one. All right, this video is probably getting long, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here pretty quick. This is gonna be the last question. This is one that I've been asked a few times, but my friend Ricky Tan over on Instagram wanted me to show him how to rig up a paddle tail swim bait on the Divine swim jig. He wants to see the breakdown on using the screw lock system, and it can be a little tricky when you first start using it. So that is gonna be the last question for this video. I'm gonna do a little bait rigging for you guys just to make it fishing official, show you guys how to get this thing rigged up with a paddle tail swim bait. First thing you wanna do is pinch your bait right towards the top like that on the nose, get the hook centered up directly in the very middle of the bait and thread it on as you normally would. Come out of the paddle tail in the center, as centered as you can possibly get the hook point, as you can hopefully see right there. Go all the way down until you hit the screw lock, and then what you're gonna wanna do is start turning it and press the paddle tail around the bend of the hook. Do it again, screw, press that paddle tail around the bend of the hook, screw. Continue the process. It usually takes 4 or 5 turns. Bend that tail around, screw it on. One more time, bend it around, screw it on until you reach the lead portion of the bait, and there you go. That is how you rig up a paddle tail swim bait on the Divine swim jig. Screw lock can be a little bit tricky, but the key is to take that tail and bend it around the bend of the hook. Gotta kind of morse it and mash it up, but once you get it on there, that thing is on there, dude. It's an excellent feature, the best swim jig on the market in my opinion, and partially due to that screw lock system. And that is gonna go ahead and wrap up this Q&A video. This has been a long one. I hope you guys enjoyed yakking it up with me. You guys know that I can be a little long-winded, I can talk a lot, and I have fun doing this, man. Maybe we'll do another one of these in the future. If I didn't get to your question, I sincerely apologize. Send it to me again and I'll try to answer it in a future video. But that's gonna go ahead and wrap up the Q&A portion of this one. If you guys enjoyed hanging out with me and you liked listening to me talk, consider subscribing to the channel. I put out new fishing videos all the time here, both from out here in the garage in front of the tackle wall and from out there on the water aboard Beetlejuice, my Skeeter ZX 190 bass boat, catching fish. Would love to have you guys riding with me. Help me color in this bar, hit that 100K, and obtain that silver play button, man. We're on a mission. I'm not gonna stop, but I can't do it without you guys. I would love to have you on board. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. I hope you're all staying safe, sane, and healthy out there in this crazy world that we're living in. That's about all I got for you today. That about does it. That about wraps her on up. So I'm gonna say goodbye for now, and I'll see you on the next one.